I guess, thank you so much. All right, so let's go and get started. I'm Shari Oswald, and we're going to transition now into managing tasks with Planner and To Do. If you know me at all, I'm a productivity specialist. My hashtag is Where's the Waffle, because I'm missing a lot of the waffle things at a lot of these conferences. They call me Shortcut Shari. You can reach out to me on social media. So if you Facebook, Twitter, or X, whatever they call themselves now, another renaming with letters. And my blog, just reach out to me. It's SHARI. The hardest thing to remember is how to spell my name. So, all right. My passion is to create energetic and creative learning opportunities to solve business problems and technology innovation. So hopefully we can accomplish that during our time today. I'm with PowerUP Learning. So if you have any interest, we are consultants, authors, speakers, facilitators, instructors. So happy to help you out. All right, I'm also going to put this link in the chat for you. If you want, there's a free, you can get a free subscription. I have 3 classes on courses on LinkedIn Learning, so feel free to reach out and check those out. All right, I'm going to dive right in. If you know me, I'm not a slide person. I don't like to do slide decks. I like to show things. So let's go ahead and move over to my demo environment. And I think task management is probably the biggest issue that I know I personally have, because I've got things floating in from everywhere. I have TML disease, too many logins. And because I'm a consultant, I also have logins for other people and other organizations. So trying to wrangle those and get everything done all in one place has been really frustrating. But at least trying to centralize in each one of my environments what I need to do and when I need to get it done, it has been a little bit easier since I've kind of come up with a little system. So I want to share that with you. And one thing to keep in mind is Microsoft 365 is a subscription. You always get the latest, greatest, coolest new stuff as it comes out. Well, you know, whether you're ready for it or not, or ready to move or not. But the good thing is that it's all integrated. And don't forget, remember that waffle button in the upper left-hand corner takes you to all the fabulous things that you have. Everything works together. So don't feel like you have to move from application to application to track the information that you need to track. You can kind of work from where you are. And I always think, you know, where do I usually start my day? I don't know about you, but it's my inbox. So I'm usually in my inbox first thing. So I know this is managing tasks with Planner To Do. She's like, why is she in Outlook? Because everything starts with, you know, people asking you to do things, and often those come in Outlook. So I want to show you some of that integration as well. All right, so best known or best kept secret of Outlook, a lot of people don't realize, is that you can drag and drop from any area of Outlook into another area of Outlook, and it'll convert that item into the destination folder type. So what I mean by that is if I take an email and I drag it to my tasks, it converts it to a task. And that task now becomes part of my to-do list. So this, I can, if I create an actual task from it, I can designate a start date, an end date, a priority, a status, percentage complete, and do some tracking on that. So that's a more robust tracking for tasks if we need it. And you can, you know, flag those with, you know, I need to get this done this week, or I need to get it done next week, and I can give it some categories. Now your categories, yes.
Shari, are you sharing your desktop at all? Nope.
It shows the red banner, but
I'll try that again, because I'm seeing some people are saying that they're not seeing anything. And then that link you shared too also looks like it's a dead link.
Oh, it's not working more? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll fix.
Yep.
I'll fix
okay.
that. All right, that was a bit.ly. All right. Yes, I was sharing my screen. Is it sharing? Is it sharing now?
It is sharing now. Yes. You're
okay.
Good. Great.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep. No problem.
It had a red banner around it, but I'll tell you, I've had a lot of issues with that for Microsoft Teams, like not sharing my screen when I think I'm sharing. Okay, let's do this. Let's start over real quick. All right, so remember in Microsoft 365, everything is integrated. In the upper left-hand corner, you have the waffle button, which has all of your apps that are integrated and working together. So if you're like me, I start in my Outlook. So my Outlook, here's my inbox. And I have my my tasks that I need to get done. So again, here's that best kept secret. Take in any item in Outlook, drag and drop it onto your task, and it converts it to a task. And it leaves the original email in the body of the task, which I love because it's like, oh, I created to do, but what did I mean by that? I don't know if any of you ever experienced that, where you're like, you write something down and at the time it makes sense, but later on, like, what was I thinking? So this helps me a lot, keeps things in context. If you create a flag, so a follow-up for this week, next week, it automatically creates an item in to-do. So I'm going to show you where that shows up later. But you also have categories, and I think a lot of people don't use these like they could. I use them for the high-level things that I do in my job. So, scheduling, or people are asking me for outlines, or I have a question, a follow-up from a class, things like that. You can customize these, and there are 25 different colors now. There used to be these kind of 6 generic flags in Outlook, and now there's up to 25 colors, but that doesn't mean you only have 25 flags. You can create as many as you need. So let's say I do one in here, and I want to call this the Mark 8 project team. All right, so I'm going to create the green category. We're going to make that the Mark 8 project team. And anything that I flag with it, now tuck that away for future because I'm going to talk about it again, using these flags and how they can help you. So use the flags for your timing, use the categories for the things that you do, and hopefully that will help you compartmentalize your work. If you've ever read Getting Things Done, then they talk about doing this, your tasks, kind of grouping them into similar things and then knocking them all out at once. And I came up with this kind of in my previous HR days. I'm a recovering HR professional. So, doing benefits things, I would do them all at once instead of one thing at a time in my inbox. All right, so here is my Mark 8 project team. Now, when you flag an item, you can also just use the quick flags. So if I have this Tailspin Toys, I'm going to click that one. That will create a flag. But if you right click on it, you can actually flag it for a specific time frame. So I need to do that this week. Now, this week is your schedule, so it's usually by Sunday. You need to get those things done. The nice thing about Outlook is that as tomorrow becomes today and next week becomes this week, it keeps track of that for you. I've seen people use flags and categories or even folders and move their information into those folders for when they need to get it done instead of using the flags that are here. And I'm going to show you in a minute why it's important not to do that. Use the flags and the categories that are there for you. All right. So manage your inbox. I do a triage on my inbox 3 times a day. I don't sit there and manage more, or sometimes minimum 3 times a day. Sometimes more often if I have some downtime. But if I spend too much time in my inbox, I actually don't get anything else done because I'm, playing whack-a-mole in my inbox trying to, process all my emails. All right. So where do these show up? If you go into tasks, when you flag or categorize your content, you now have, here's the Mark 8 plans needed fast. That says no date. Here's my things I need to do today. Here's the things I need to do this week. So here's that one that I just created a category on. So that's my to-do list, which includes my to-do, not just the stuff that's in my inbox. If I click tasks, these are the ones that I actually created those tasks for. So these are like our flagged emails, and these are the tasks that we work on. So how does that tie in with to-do? Let's go over to the browser, and I'm going to go into my day for to-do. Here are the flagged emails that I just put in my my to-do list. So to-do rolls everything up into one place. If you're not using to-do, what I love about it is that it actually works on my phone. I can have all of those to-do content in my phone, and it's mobile, and I can see what I need to get done, not just from the web, but from any device, anywhere, anytime. Right, so here's the things that I need to get done. Let's kind of give you, if you're not familiar with to-do, on the left-hand side, I'm going to give you a little tour real quick. The first one is my day. Now, I have a clean slate today. here's all the things that are flagged in my email or things in my planner that I need to get completed. So how do I decide what I'm going to get done today? Because maybe I can't get it all done today. Here's my priority list. This for me is the replacement of that sticky note that I used to sit on my desk and write things down as I was going, which I've replaced with the Rocketbook, by the way. If you're not using Rocketbook, I love my Rocketbooks. All right. So here's my today. If I decide that I want to say, okay, I need to book my flights because it's overdue, I'm going to add that to my day. I've got this cool, liquidation sale on the cool cups. I'm going to do that for today. All right, so I've got some other ones that are coming in as I'm working. There's more that are suggested. Maybe I need to work on the schedule today. I can look at that one and add that one to today. So this is how you choose from your to-do list what you're going to get done today. And the suggestions are kind of nice. That is a toggle. You can kind of, open that up or close it if you're not interested in the suggestions. All right. Here's are the ones that are important. So if you have a task that you need to get done, it's like book the travel for Tom's be next. That's something I just need to add for myself. I don't have to depend on other applications. I can create it for myself and flag that as important. Now notice the stars. Those show up on any of your tasks, and you can mark any of them as important, and they show up in your important list. So they may be important, but not things I need to get done today. All right. Here's the planned one. So when you see planned could be from your, notice the desk or the source of these. We have tasks and we have flagged emails, but these are coming in from Planner. So Planner also rolls up to our to-do list. Here's the ones that are assigned to me from Planner. Right, so I'm going to add this one. If I want to add this one to my day, I can add it to my day. So or mark it complete. Here's the stuff I've gotten done. Here's my flagged emails. And then here are the tasks that come in from Outlook. So your content that's coming in from Outlook is part of, I'm constantly having people asking me to do things in my inbox. I don't want to have to go to another app and create another task list or some separate task for me to manage that when I can just flag it in my Outlook. How many are new to you on that? New that you didn't know that when you flag your email, it shows up in your to-do. Is that new for anybody? Yeah, cool. All right. Aha moments. So it's fabulous. All right. So the task lists are meant, or your to-do list is meant to be kind of your personal work on things. So how you manage the tasks you need to get done. Now, to work together, let's go back to Office 365 and look at the apps that are there. So I'm going to explore those for you. And there are basically 4 apps. Come on, there we go. There are 4 apps that within Office 365 that help you manage tasks. To do, again, kind of your personal to-do list. You have actually 5, I guess, if you think about it. You've got Outlook tasks. You've got lists, which can be to-do items as well. You have projects, Microsoft Project, which is way more robust than most people need. If you need true project management, you have that. And then you have Planner. So which application do you use when? What makes the most sense? Am I managing tasks for myself? Am I managing tasks in a group? Do I need full project management that I need to coordinate all of those tasks? Now, we're not going to talk about project today. That's evolving right now. They're changing a lot of things in project, but I do want to focus on Planner because how many of you manage your tasks or track your tasks in Excel? Then raise your hand. It's okay. I do too sometimes. Depends on what I'm doing. Right. Okay. So Excel can be helpful, but if you are using Excel, being able to create those custom columns and things are really helpful. Microsoft Lists might be a better option for you, just kind of as a, planting a little seed if you're tracking things in Excel. Now, Planner is the application that is meant to be collaborative. So Planner from the waffle button upper left-hand corner, you can choose it from there, but I already have it queued up. So Planner lets you coordinate tasks with other people. So who are you working with? Do you need to coordinate an event? Are you working on a product launch? So if you've never used Planner before, if you can imagine somebody took a whiteboard and they took a Sharpie marker and they drew vertical lines on that whiteboard and then handed you a pack of sticky notes and said, create your tasks. And then you can move those sticky notes from vertical lane to vertical lane, which in Planner we call buckets. So let's look at some examples of some of those. Here's an event plan. So I help plan a lot of events because I'm part of the community that does a lot of the events, including ComZNext. I like to help out with that one as a volunteer. But these are your vertical lanes. So we call those buckets. And each plan has its own set of buckets and its own set of what we call labels. So these little colored flags. So your tasks, if you create a task, you add it to a bucket. And that bucket, you can move it from bucket to bucket. So sometimes it makes sense to have buckets for different phases of your projects or different work streams that you're working on. So in this case, the event plan, we have some to-dos that haven't been assigned to a work stream. The work streams for this event are presentations, the press, the venue, and the team travel. And if you scroll over, you can keep going and going and add new buckets. So if I need to add a new bucket, let's say for sponsors, I'm going to add a sponsor bucket here. So that sponsor bucket, I can now add a task to, let's say, create sponsor packet. And we need that done by Friday. And I'm going to assign that to people. Now, this is limited to the 20-some members that are in this group. So I can't assign it to, let's say I put Bob in here. There's no Bob because he's not part of that group. This plan is security trim for the people that are working on this particular project. Now, to get a little technical behind the scenes, this is based on an Office 365 group. And that Office 365 group can also be a Microsoft team, because when you create a team, you create a group. But when you create a group, you don't necessarily create a team. So every Office 365 group, you can create a plan for that as well. All right, so if I want to assign this to Deborah and I can assign it to Alex, then they're in charge of creating that sponsor packet. But wait, there's more. If you click the card, let's hit enter. There. Oh, there. There we go. Click the card, you have a lot more detail about it. So what bucket does it live in? What's the progress of that task? What's the priority? Your start date, your end date, your due date, repeat or not. Then you have notes. Now your notes, this is a dynamic column or dynamic field that you can add, remove, change, update as you need to. But it doesn't keep a history of what was there. You also have a checklist, so you can add additional items, and then attachments. And your attachments can be from your computer, from your Teams files, or from a link in a URL. So it could be anything within Office 365 or externally, any website that you might have. But you can also attach files for that. Now, keep in mind, when it says from my computer, it's going to upload it into the site that is created behind the scenes. When you create an Office 365 group, one of the things you get is a SharePoint site that goes with it. Now, that SharePoint site, again, can be team affiliated or associated or not. So you can have your files there and share with them. So if you want to upload, let's say I have a document that I want to upload. Maybe this is a presentation that we're working on. I'm going to upload it, and now that is an attachment on this task, which is great. You can have multiple attachments. The comments down here are like a running conversation about this task. So, please make sure you include the new VIP sponsor level. All right, so I'm going to send that off. Now, what happens when you create a comment and you click send, the people that are assigned get an active notification. So Deborah and this lovely guy here who was at Alex, they both are going to get a notification that there's been a comment on the task. So any progress on this task now becomes a notification kind of trigger for anything that's going on. And if I want to, I can, this becomes kind of your mom. The planner is like, you've got tasks due today, you have tasks due tomorrow, you have tasks due next week, your tasks are overdue. It's kind of sits there and nags you when you've got things going on. So it's kind of a great way to keep track of what you need to get done in your tasks, in your projects. Any questions so far? Let's see. Can items in a list that are assigned to you show up in to do? I don't think yet, but they are re-envisioning that. I keep hearing whispers, but I don't have confirmation that they're kind of, there's a whole movement on tasks. So hopefully yes, but not yet, that I know of. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody knows any different, because things happen, new things happen all the time. All right, can your planner created Microsoft 365 groups include your external guest users? I do not believe so. I think the planner board, because of where it lives, I always look at the URL. So that it's like tasks.office.com. You'll see, Teams, if it's inside Teams, then you'll see the URL there. And I don't believe that they are externally available. Will Planner ever transition the comments to the Teams channel post? I don't think so. I hope not. I think we're inundated by that. Kind of if you've got comments around things, put them in Teams. If you've got comments around the task, I would like to see it in the task, because then I don't have to fish through all my Teams static to figure out what's going on with this. Anybody else feel why that would be beneficial and want to share? Or Teams alerts. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit, Brian, because again, it all works together. We'll see if we can figure out a way to make that happen. Okay. So spoiler alert, I have something coming up at the end. We'll talk about that. All right. So create your tasks. You can copy tasks, move them, you can delete them, you can create a link to the tasks. If you want to send somebody a direct link, it's like, hey, I signed the sponsored packet to you, and here's the link to it so they can get there directly. You can always get that, but you can also have notifications on your planner boards. So those settings, if you want to change the plan settings under the event plan, here's like the different look and feel of them, because kind of this white on white is a little hard, but honestly, I think some of these are a little bit too busy, but it's up to your preference, what you'd like to have. I don't mind the kind of the watermark look, but some of these bright ones are a little hard for me to read. Under group, here's the group name, and who can see this plan contents. Public, which is not public, like I don't want to be in public. This is public within your organization. And then notification. So do you want an email sent to the group when a task assigner is completed? So you can turn this on as the plan owner. Each person can go in and customize their own notifications. So if they're like, hey, I'm in there all day, every day, I don't need to be reminded via email all the time, you can turn those off for yourself. I always turn them on by default and then let people decide, what they want to do, because otherwise they may not know that it's even on. All right, so one of my favorite things about Planner is the ability to update things using drag and drop. We're in the bucket view right now. And our bucket view, let's say here's the to-do list that didn't have any assignments. It's acting weird. There we go. Submit your expenses. What is that for? Maybe that's for the team travel. I'm going to drag that over. It's going to add it to the bucket. Schedule the dress rehearsal. That's for presentation. So just by dragging and dropping, I can move them from bucket to bucket. But it's not just by bucket. If you go to the group by bucket option, you can change it to assigned to. So maybe Deborah is going out of town and she's not going to be able to get this done. Then maybe I reassign her to Adele. Now remember, I had to assign to her Alex and to her. It does not move it from Alex. All it does is it moves it from the assigned person that you're moving it from to the assigned person that you're the destination person. All right. So those are assignments. If you have a new person, you have to have something assigned to them first. It doesn't create a bucket for all 14 people or 20 people. It just does it for the people that are actively have assignments. You have to assign one to somebody else to create a new bucket for them. Under progress, so I can say, all right, this one is completed. This one is in progress. Again, just by dragging and dropping, you can update the progress. By due date, now this one is another one that's driven by the content that's here. Notice that this one is late. I'm going to change the due date on this one for today. So let's do, today is the 8th. I can't even believe it's 2024. I don't know about y'all. All right, so now I have a today bucket, I have a this week, and I have a future bucket. If I change this one to next week, let's say this one's due next week. Now I have a next week bucket. So depending on the due dates that are there, and again, you'd have to have something assigned in that time frame for it to create the bucket. But just like Outlook, when this week becomes, next week becomes this week, it automatically updates these for you. All right, labels. Now labels, there are 25 different colored labels for each planner board. So you can customize those, when you can only have one item in one bucket at a time, but you can have many labels assigned to those. So for me, these are kind of like those little colored flags that you used to the Post-it note flags that you used to put on papers or whatever. There are 25 different ones. So you can customize them. So let's say I need a travel bucket. I'm going to use the lavender, rename that, call it travel. And it's going to add that one to, let's add the travel one to that. All right, so now I have a new bucket or a new label. So the labels can be work streams, they can be phases, they can be, what I've seen them in Kanban boards, there's a level of effort when you're working in agile project management. What is the level of effort for this? So they'll use the labels for that to say this one is going to take 2 hours versus 8 hours versus 3 days, or whatever those levels of effort they've already assigned to those, their project plan and their agile plan. So you can use them for that as well. Kind of really great creative way. But the nice thing is you can have, again, items in more than one bucket, and again, dragging and dropping. If I want to move this over to Fabricam, it reassigns it from Patty to Fabricam. It just swaps those two out for you. All right, and then priority. So it's like, oh no, this one's important, this one's low, this one's urgent. You can again drag and drop those by those. So I kind of like being able to mass update things just by going here. I don't want to have to go into each card and change those fields, because that's kind of frustrating. All right, so that's the board view. You also have the charts view. So this kind of lets you know where things are at, what's going on. Your schedule view. So this is your calendar. Now from your settings, you can actually link this to your Outlook calendar. So if you want to share it with other people, you can share it with a public link with an iLink, or you don't. You can keep it private for yourself. Right. So you can link that into Outlook, and you can see the timelines. And it becomes a calendar, just like in here, where you go into the calendars, and you can hide and show the different calendars by selecting them. So it shows all of these. So if I can toggle these on and off, it becomes another calendar. All right. And then finally, the other view is the grid view. Now this one, I'm going to show you in Teams, because this, I wish it worked the same way in Teams as it does here. And I'm just going to test something because I didn't look. Yep. It doesn't quite work the way it does in Teams. I'm going to show you that here in a second. So you have all of your plan set up here. Now you may have multiple plans. So we have the Mark 8 project plan. Theirs is set up a little bit different. Their buckets are, let's change this back to buckets, engineering, manufacturing, and launch. So when the functional spec is written, when it's ready for manufacturing, again, move it. So their work streams are different. Now I have one as a speaker. I have one that I use for planning what I'm speaking at this year. And my buckets are the date has been announced, the call for speakers have been announced, then submitted, waiting on response, whether I was selected, do I need to book travel, and I move each one of these tasks is each of those events and has my little checklist of what I need to get done. And it's nice for me to be able to track that, because if you're, when you start submitting to a whole bunch of events, it's like, no, did I submit to that one, or when's the call for speakers for that one? And then I have my queue for next year. So even next year, if I didn't get accepted to speak, maybe I'll submit again next year, but I have like, these are ones that are in the future and kind of when I expect the call for speakers to come out so I can watch for them. So I don't know, Michelle, I know you speak at a lot of events, but Hal, a couple of people I've noticed the names are in the community as well. All right.
Yeah, I'd love access to your planner. That sounds great. You can put a category with my name on.
Yes, there you go, Michelle. There you go. You give you your own label. What color do you? So,
red.
Red, always. Okay, very cool. Okay, so here's my plan. Each one kind of hard to track. What's kind of nice to this, though, we have the hub at the top, which are all of my plans. But this is my favorite view, assigned to me. Assigned to me are all of my tasks that are assigned to me across all of those plans. I don't have to go to each plan to manage them individually because I have my central view. Again, we have chart view, we have schedule view, same thing in my own view. But here, this is, you can tell from the card which of the plans these are related to. So if I want to update, and it's like, okay, this one's completed, I'm starting this one. Now I can update my tasks. And again, the same groupings are available in this view by due date, by plan. It's a little bit different because now I can see it actually by which plan they're assigned to, what's the due date, what's the priority for those. So nice to be able to see those myself. All right, so planner, great way to collaborate and work with other people. But if you want to take it to the next level, here you go, Brian. I don't like to work hard. I like to work smarter. So if I have some foundation set up, so if I have categories in my emails, or my planner is set up with different buckets, Power Automate, I don't have time to dive too far into Power Automate, but Power Automate lets you create flows for those notifications. I want to know, maybe not everybody wants to know in Teams if there's a new task assigned to somebody in Planner. That's fine. Guess what? Automate does that, and you can set it up for yourself as well. This new describe it to design it is pretty cool. So if maybe I want a, oh, there we go. I had it queued up. Okay, so let's say I want to add a task to Planner. Here, this is what I just did. Add a task in Planner when an email is flagged as the Mark 8 plan. So if you have your category set up in Outlook, you can actually tell it what you want it to do. It's like when a new email, here's a suggested flow. When a new email arrives, create a task in Planner. So this, I didn't have to code nothing. This is part of Copilot for the Power Platform. So if you're not familiar with this, I encourage you to play with it. I can't get too far into it with the time I have allotted for this, but definitely something to look at if you're wanting to automate things. So an example was, we used to do the customer immersion experience from Microsoft, and I had a rule in my Outlook that when an email came in with a specific phrase in the subject line, because it always came from their automated system, that I wanted it to categorize and create a task for me in my Outlook. But I changed that to Planner because my business partner, Leanne, when we were working on those together, it's like, well, one of us needs to respond as soon as possible. So if it comes into my inbox, guess what? Somebody needs to respond. And we had it set up so every time that these emails came in, and added a task to Planner, and then we could at that point start tracking it through the process. Do we have resources available? Are the dates available? That kind of thing. Very cool. So if you're not using Power Automate to, kind of do some of the work for you, I highly encourage you to look at it, including sending those notifications. All right. So Brian says, can we build better and send email reminders based on our own logic? Yes, absolutely. And hopefully this helps you. If you're not familiar with Power Automate, I'm going to go back one step here. Go to the templates, and there are brilliant people out there that know how to do all this stuff. So I'm just going to type in planner, and here are all the planner related. I'm still scrolling. There's some more templates. All these have to do with planner. There's tons of them out here. Now, the ones that I would caution you on are the ones that don't say Microsoft Power Automate Community, Microsoft Flow Community. Now, Power Automate was originally called Flow and rebranded. And so Flow Community used to be the Power Automate Community, or by Microsoft. Now, really smart people, great companies can go out here and they can create and publish flows as well, but they may or may not maintain them. You'll start seeing flows that say V1, V2, V3. That's because as the applications evolve, so do the automations. So they have to go in and change them because the connectors don't work anymore. So just be aware. First of all, make sure that they're from a trusted source and that they're hopefully the most recent one that's in there. And you can see this one has been 161,000 times somebody has done this. Create a task and planner from Microsoft Forms and post a message in Teams. It does 3 things. Ding, ding, ding. Now, and there are connectors that have nothing to do with Microsoft 365. There are all kinds of platforms out there. So if you go to the connectors, you'll see there are hundreds, if not thousands by now, of connectors that are external as well. And here's all of the kind of the main ones. If you see premium, they may cost you money, or they may cost you a license on that platform. So just be aware of that. All right. So Teams, if you're a Teams focused person, then this is where Planner becomes your friend as well, because there's 2 different places that we can centralize the tasks that we have in Planner. The first one is by adding a tab. So for the project management channel in the Mark 8 project team, if I want to work and manage that plan in Teams, I'm going to do it from here. I'm going to add the plan, and they keep changing the icon. It was, they're both green, but now then it was purple, and now it's like purple and blue rainbow looking thing. Okay, so here's the task by planner and to do. So remember, look at it, task by planner and to do. Ooh, very cool. You can create a new plan, or you can use an existing plan for this team, which we already just saw. Here's that project plan or project tracking. And it's going to add it to the tab. So I have the same capability here as I do in Planner. I can drag and drop, I can update, I can change my views. The one big difference is this list view, which is not the same thing as the grid view in Planner. And this is what I wish that grid view would do, because what typically happens is, let's say we've got a bunch of things that are behind schedule, or I want to change the dates. You can select a item here, and here's your updates. I don't have to go into each one, but if I want to update multiple items, I'm holding the control key down as I'm clicking, and I can change the bucket, I can change the label, I can change the due date. So if I want all these to be due, not next week or this week, but on a specific day, maybe I want this on the 11th, and then click save. I just updated 4 tasks all at once. Beautiful, for a specific day, and not just this week or next week. It's for a specific day. I can change the assignments. I can change the progress. So put them in progress. These are due by the 11th. And I wish the grid view would work this way. So Planner team in Microsoft, if you're watching this, please, you have it here. Why isn't it in the main application? Why can't we do this? All right, so you have your chart, your board, your view, and your schedule here as well. Plus, you can also add to your left-hand side. So here's the other place where we have the integration. The little dot, dot, dot. Here's task by planner and to do. Guess what's here? I have my day, I have my task, and here's my planner plans that are now populating in. So if I work in teams, work where you are, work where it makes sense. Don't have to go to do unless it's convenient to go to do, and you're managing what you need to get done. Like, here's all my stuff for today. So here's, maybe check the site usage for this one. I'm going to click the little ... here, add it to my day. This is the same application, the same data source as that's in to do on the other side. So cool stuff. Manage your tasks there. All right, so we have our calendar tasks. We have our to do, which rolls up everything. We have planner, which lets you coordinate and work with other people. And you have the Power Automate options for automating those. And then you have the tasks by planner to do. Now, one more thing in Teams, if you are in a team, so I'm going to go back to Teams. I kind of alluded to this earlier. Sometimes if you have very specific information, like these are great, except for the fact that there's no customizable information that I can add to them. If I have a specific column that I want to, like I would in an Excel spreadsheet, these are not yet customizable. They've been talking about it for like 4 years, maybe 5 years now. It was a SharePoint conference. They're saying, oh yeah, we're going to create customizable fields. Hasn't happened yet because I think, especially a lot of resources went into building out Teams when it was needed during the pandemic. And some of these things went by the wayside. I don't think that they've forgotten us, but I think they just got reallocated in what they're doing, is my guess. Right. But if you have lists, so Microsoft Lists, this adds a new list to the team. And usually create a list. That's kind of a weird thing that's used to pop right into this. All right. So one of the ones in here is the work progress tracker. Here's the preview of what it looks like. Due date assigned to category descriptions. And let's say this is the speaker confirmations, something like that. And I can now customize this and add additional columns for this. So if you have other information you need to track beyond the category, the progress priority, now just a little heads up, they rebranded, again, Microsoft loves to rebrand and give new little icons and things. They're like, oh, Microsoft Lists, brand new shiny tool a couple years ago. No, it's been in SharePoint for over 20 years. I've been using SharePoint since before it was called SharePoint. It was called Microsoft Content Management Server at the time. And this one is to me, is the best kept secret. All these lists that people were using, they were using it as a document dump. But lists, this is not a special thing. This is something that's been in SharePoint for over 20 years. And this list actually lives in the SharePoint site behind the scenes. It doesn't live in anywhere else. Okay. So just keep in mind, all these are centralized in the site that's behind the scenes for the project management team for Mark 8. All right. Any other questions? We have a few minutes left here. So Brian, did that answer your question? Can we build automate to send email reminders based on our own logic? Hopefully.
Hi, Lindsay.
Yeah. Sherry? Yeah.
Lindsay, it's Joel Swenson calling from Minneapolis College Technology Support.
Okay. All right. Looks like somebody's multitasking with Teams and then they're answering Teams calls, it sounds like. All right. Let's see. How will the interface of Planner be changing with the merger with Project? I think we're all waiting to see that. I think it's going to be a lot of change, but hopefully integration. Project for the web. Now, this is coming from somebody who's used Microsoft Project again for about 20 years, and I like the power of that. Just like I can't do QuickBooks online. I just can't do it. I have to have my QuickBooks application. I don't it never translated to the web very well. It's gotten better, but it's still not the desktop version. And I'm hoping to see that there's a little more customizable options in Planner if they're tying the two together. But I don't know. Does anybody have any insight to that? I know my MVPs that are on here, you might know about stuff that you can share that I don't know about yet, but they're usually under NDA and can't share. So happy to share the stage if you have some insight into that. Is there any way to see more info list view, like the start date? The list view in Planner is not customizable. And I always say yet, because we never know. So yeah, I'm with you on this. I want to see more details on these, like, because it just has the due date. I wish I could, go in and hide and show like we do in an Excel or a SharePoint list or Microsoft list. You can kind of hide and show the columns. Not yet, unfortunately. Okay. Perfect, Brian. All right. So Jeremy asked, conversations can be had around each list item and then show up in the post tab. Yes. So these you're talking about on for that channel. Yes. All right. Maddie, see the Ignite presentation. Are you going to share that? Oh, perfect. Thank you. I have yet. I mean, I know it was November, but I have not had time with year-end bookkeeping for myself and my son's brewery to go back and watch all the Ignite stuff that I have in my backpack. Still sitting in my backpack. Okay. Anything on the roadmap to assign different? I know that's been high. So Brian's asking anything on the roadmap to assign different people to the checklist items. That has been highly requested, but I have not seen any example of that yet. Good. Yeah, I'm, here's my caution, and I'm saying this kind of in my outside voice. The Ignite events have tend to be a lot of hype and hoorah that takes sometimes for it to actually hit the ground. And I appreciate the preview on things, but sometimes it's frustrating because they're like, there's all this great new stuff coming, and it's like 6-8 months, a year, and then sometimes 4 years later, it's still not there. So I take out all of these announcements that they do until I start seeing actual dates assigned to them in the announcement center. And even with that, they're like, oh, this has been moved out, this has been moved out. So yeah, when it hits my demo environments, then I know it's coming. But other than that, I kind of take it with a grain of salt. Very good. Yeah, so that's the planner session is supposed to be really good. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, just Rich text me. Yep, exactly. A little bit more meat to it. And keep in mind what it was developed for. The good thing about it is everybody on the planner board has the exact same permission. The bad thing about it is everybody on the planner board has exact same permissions. It's meant to be collaborative. They're meant for you to work together. Unfortunately, what that means is I can go and create things and John could go in and delete them, or Bobby Sue could go in and change and update and move things around and reassign them. But it's very much a trust-based environment, and it's not meant to create big, huge project plans that are years long and they have dependencies between the tasks. Again, if this is something you could put on a whiteboard with sticky notes, then that's the format to use, because anybody could come up and wipe all the sticky notes and throw them in the trash, and somebody could walk right by and do that. So just keep that in mind. And I know that they've been asking for that too, to have kind of owners can create and only people can update the ones that are assigned. There's a lot of those requests that are in the what used to be user voice and the feedback loops. People are asking for that, but that's not what it was built for. If you need control over the tasks and the permissions, SharePoint/Microsoft List do that for you. That's one of the things, you know, maybe we use that tool instead, because I do need to control who can create, who can assign, who can update things. All right, we have just a few minutes left. Happy to answer any other questions. Feel free to reach out to me. You can't assign tasks from lists, right? No, not yet. But it is it doesn't show up in to-do, but my understanding is it's supposed to. So again, highly requested when it happens, you know, kind of like the personal plans. People have been asking for personal plans. So that's another caution. When you create a plan, it creates an Office 365 group. It creates a SharePoint site. It creates a whole bunch of other stuff behind the scenes that you have to be aware of. It creates an email address. So if I want to create a planner board for me to track my stuff, then I call it Shari Stuff. Guess what? Now I have a Shari Stuff at contoso.com email address, because it created the Office 365 and the corresponding email group, email address. So just keep that in mind. It's not meant to be personal yet. They've talked about it again since SharePoint 2019, the conference, SharePoint 2019, so almost 5 years. Still not there yet. All right, Nancy's asking, can info from work progress tracker list be exported to Excel? Absolutely. That's one of the best things about the lists. So if you go to the SharePoint site behind the scenes, I'm going to kind of go the backdoor way here. I'm going to go to files. I wish they, like in Teams, in the SharePoint site, there's a Teams link that'll take you to the team. I wish it would go the other way. All right. So here's the SharePoint site. Takes me to the document library. But here is the site contents for that. So that list that I just created, here's the speaker confirmations list. And you can export this to multiple. Oh, this is a new one. CSV with schema. I'm gonna have to check that one out. See, little Easter eggs happen all the time. All right. So you can export it to different formats and even create dashboards out of it if you need to with Power BI. Very good. No recovery if someone is deleted prevents a lot of planner business use. 100%, there's no recycle bin, Ryan. You're absolutely right. So again, and like even in OneNote has a history and a recycle bin built into it. I don't know why Planner doesn't as well. Of course, I'm not an engineer. I respect and I am grateful for the smart people that create all of these things, because I like to use them and share them, but I sure don't want to be the one that has to create them. It's not my superpower. But yeah, no recycle bin, and no version history, no, you know, oh, can we track this back to what was it 3 weeks ago? There's none of that in Planner. So we'd love to know when you're, go ahead and type in, what was your favorite thing, either from myself or from Dawn today? What was your aha moment? Because that's why we're all here, right? And I'll leave you with my contact information again. If you want to reach out, feel free. I am available on all the things. I don't do Instagram. I don't do TikTok. And somebody told me I should do TikTok for my tips and tricks, but I am rejuvenating my Tip Tuesdays. I'm also having another Waffle Wednesday webinar coming up this month. So watch my social media. I do these all for free because I love giving back.